A very simple and short message for today. Today, I want to make a very simple point about how important it is to show up. Showing up is not giving up. Showing up is the essence of being consistent, of not giving up on something you care about honoring more than you care about finding relief temporarily in not doing what you know ultimately you have to be doing. In my case, I said that I will film one video a week and upload it to YouTube for 3 years when I started 1.5 years ago. Now I have the plan to do it for 5 years, just because it seems harder and harder. I thought it would be easier as I go along, and it would become more natural. I would have a better system in place. I would have a more structured way of sharing my ideas. But it becomes harder these days. I feel like I'm becoming more confused about life, that I start to struggle on some areas that I tend to talk about on these videos with some sort of authority, because clearly I've been through them, I lived them, I have experience about them. And I feel like an imposter sometimes when I clearly struggle with more or less the same things that I seem to be preaching on and about, right? Like confronting hardship, being always in alignment with what happens, and you constructing the meaning of what happens and all this stuff. And I genuinely believe that's the case, but I want to show also that it's one thing to know about something, even if you know that something is true, and another thing to just live that truth. And the reason why I continue to upload videos like this to YouTube is clearly not to perform and grow my channel in any, against any kind of, strategies that one might have. I'm just doing it because I want to do it. I genuinely want to do it. And I want to do it even when I find very good excuse not to do it. And in those moments, it's especially important to do it, because even though it might feel like I'm forcing myself to do it, I know in retrospect that those moments when I do it despite wanting to do it, those are the moments that I cherish the most. Those are the moments that I respect the most, looking back. And I think I also found a way to not feel, even in the moment, that I'm forcing it or that I'm pushing it. And the way I found to do it like that is to simply not want to perform at all, to just show up. Showing up is, I think, the nicest and the cleanest way of showing to yourself that you're not giving up. Showing up is not giving up. And this giving up is important because it's not about, losing a bet, or, giving the impression to someone that you cannot do it, right? Or forcing yourself to do something just to prove people that you can do it. No. Not giving up is important when it comes down to something which is very deep deeply meaningful to you. Showing up is not giving up to yourself, not giving up on yourself, not giving up on something that you know deep down that is very important to you. And that thing doesn't have to make a lot of sense to most people. It just has to make sense to you, and you showing up is you being compassionate with yourself for not forcing yourself into performance every single time. Showing up is enough. Showing up is a form of compassion towards yourself. Because sometimes showing up is the best way to be anyway with you and with that goal, and to honor that goal. And it's enough. It's absolutely enough. Consistency is more important than intensity and performance and performance indicators and philosophical, absolutes and maxims that people should write down and take away with them. And consistency is more important than anything else. And I'm consistent with my goal and with whatever I intend to be doing. And that's, in retrospect, that's more important than actually performing on a video like this. Because if I would perform, it means that everything is flowing, everything is intuitive, everything is nice. And I would say, yeah, of course, I can do it. Like that, I can do it. But what happens when I don't feel like doing it? What happens when I'm challenging my own judgment and I'm building a very strong narrative around why I should just not do it anymore? Why it doesn't make sense? Why and how is actually not helping anyone with anything, right? They're just seeing someone who is confused occasionally, someone who doesn't have a clean message to share. Why should I put that out there, right? And these narratives, they start to make sense at some point. Absolutely they do. And yet, I want to just sometimes I want to surprise myself by doing the exact opposite of that which becomes quite obvious and intuitive at some point. There is this alluring voice in your head to the point of almost convincing you, like, and yes, it makes sense. And at some point you become like convinced and you're okay with that explanation. And then, you go on, you move on. And then when you remember about you not being truthful to yourself and not doing what you knew you have to be doing, you will try to find consolation in that excuse, which was a valid thing at the time when you bought into it, right? But the more time passes, the more difficult it is for you to buy into that narrative, and the more the more difficult will it be to bury the lie that you buried with that narrative, right? So when that narrative starts to build up and tell me this nice, alluring story and these very good excuses about why I should be giving up on my goal and on myself in the end, and I seem to reach that point of complete seduction into the narrative, to the point of just drop it, man. It's okay. Just give up. I like to just shock myself into doing the complete opposite, just to prove to myself that that's bullshit and I don't buy into it. And I don't do it to prove me wrong. I just do it because it's fun. Because it's fun to fool the voice that's trying to fool you. Yeah. Just trying to articulate something that I think most of you recognize as being the default way of operating in the world, right? You come up with something deeply important to you, you come up with a goal, you have some destination in mind, and then you are very intense, very passionate, very, very dedicated to your goal and to the mission, and you are doing it, and everything is nice and everything is flowing. And then at some point it becomes hard. And it becomes hard in your way of experiencing hardship, right? Something that might be hard for me, it might be easy for you, and the other way around. But in your very specific journey, it becomes hard. And then the temptation to give up becomes increasingly intense and important. And what you will have to remember in that moment is that this is absolutely what you want to have in the journey towards your goal. You want to have hardship. You want to be challenged. You want it to be difficult because you have to prove to yourself that that thing is really that important to you. That destination is really what you really, really, really want. Because if you go through hardship, if you go through challenges, if you keep yourself aligned to your truth and you keep committed to your goal and you don't give in to the alluring voice of this narrative which tries to pull you into this seductive trance of convincing yourself, that it's okay to just drop it because it's hard and it doesn't worth it. You need that thing, that very thing you need it, because this is what grows you. This is what will take you to that destination. This very thing, this very action, this very, small act of showing up today despite everything else. No excuse. The fact that you don't find along the way and don't give in to an alluring, valid otherwise excuse from all sorts of different viewpoints. And yet, you don't give up on your goal. You don't give up on yourself. You stay true to yourself. You show up. You don't perform. You don't do some sort of magic performance thing to impress everyone. No, you just show up. That's it. And when the threshold of proving commitment is just showing up, you really have no excuse. And you know that. And I know that. That's why I'm showing up. And that's it for today. That's the message. I hope you take it to heart, and I hope you see that there is really no reason out there to not show up, to not be truthful to yourself. There is no reason out there to find it justified to just drop your commitment, to just drop what's important to you. There's no reason out there. Just show up. That's it. The best recipe for success, just show up. Good luck and happy exploration.